how will Paul, CP3, and another ball-dominant guard and MVP runner-up James Harden coexist, both ranked in the league's top 10 last season in touches, time of possession, and passes.
I'm sick of seeing that stat. Get it off the screen. Get it off the screen.
It's just facts.
Get the stat off the screen.
So this going to work? Is this going to work or not, Mike?
Perfectly. It needs context.
Perfectly.
I have no doubt that it will work perfectly. Both those guys dominated the ball with their teams. You know why?
Because they had to.
Okay. Look, the point guard is the point guard for a reason. He's omniscient. Smart people tend to figure it out. Great players tend to figure it out. Players with something to prove tend to figure it out. You have two of the highest IQ basketball players in the NBA who are damn good off the ball themselves, and a brilliant mind in Mike D'Antoni. This is going to work swimmingly. And besides, how many of y'all was saying LeBron and D-Wade can't work together? Or for that matter, LeBron and Kyrie can't work together? How many of y'all was saying, oh my goodness, they got too many mouths to feed in Golden State. There's only one ball to go around. This is going to work amazingly well. And if nothing else, you rest James Harden, who many people thought ran out of gas down the stretch. He doesn't have to lead the league in minutes every year now, at least for this year. We'll see what happens down the road. Or you keep one of these cats on the court at all times. They're both amazing shooters. Chris Paul's a 37% career three-point shooter. He can spot up. They ran pick and roll as well as anybody last year, and they got two of the top three, pick and roll players in basketball on the same team. It incenses me how people act like having two people who can make their teammates better is somehow a bad thing. Stop it. This is perfect. It's going to work. They were determined to play together for a reason. They know this can work.
Well, I think that last part is exactly why I will say I give this the benefit of the doubt. I do think that they will have some chemistry issues because even though they both clearly wanted this, and again, I think that's a major factor. Even with the Heat when they first started out, and everybody had jokes when they started off 9 and 8, I thought they would eventually figure it out because all those guys came together because they wanted to. It wasn't.
They were incentivized.
Yeah, they wanted this.
Forced together.
Yeah, they wanted this to work. And hearing that James Harden personally recruited Chris Paul, knowing their relationship, even if they do go through some growing pains, I think eventually it'll work itself out. Now, whether or not it'll work itself out to the point of where they'll have something for the Warriors, that remains to be seen. And of course, Houston, they may not be done, especially with these rumors that they might try to get Paul George.
Or Paul Millsap.
Or Paul Millsap.
Serge Ibaka.
Right. They're not,
or Carmelo Anthony.
They're not finished
Don't put it past Daryl Morey.
with what they're tinkering with. But look, the one thing I think is the most important factor here is it will help so much from a culture standpoint. Now, James Harden, he admits that this year he did a lot of growing up in terms of being a leader. But he's still more of a quiet guy. He's a leader by example kind of guy.
Right.
Chris Paul is one of the most competitive players in the league. And he brings it every day, every practice. As you mentioned, his basketball IQ, he's got an edge to how he plays. Mm-hmm. And I think bringing that edge to this team is going to do wonders for how they approach the game.
Just to support how bad Chris Paul wanted this, he reduced his trade kicker from $3.6 million to $661,000. Obviously, left about $11 million on the table this year, and pushed off the long-term security of the max deal, which he can get after this year by opting in. But let's go back to the Golden State issue, which everything comes back to Golden State, right?
That's why the whole league right now is in a flux.
I think that's missing the point. Does this make them better than Golden State? Probably not, but it makes them better, and that's the point. Props to Leslie Alexander and Daryl Morey for not sitting around like some of these fools were talking about and said, let's just wait the Warriors out. Because Daryl Morey said this a while ago. We're not going to sit on our hands. We got some stuff up our sleeves, and we'll see what else they do. But even with just this move, think about the fact we underrate how much luck and good fortune and health is involved when it comes to advancing in the playoffs. The Clippers are no more because of bad luck and injuries. At least let them tell it. The Thunder are no more. Could have done more, in my opinion. Forget about the Russ and KD dynamic. The Thunder could have done more if not for injuries and bad luck. The Cavs and the Warriors both think they should have an additional championship out of the last 3 years if not for injuries and bad luck. My point is, on paper, they still don't stack up with the Warriors, but they're closer. And when the time comes to playing, who knows, knock on wood, who knows who sprains an ankle, who knows who gets suspended, who knows who tears something, who knows who's just not having a good series, and this team now is better than it was last year, even though they thought they could outgun them. They're better now. The Clippers weren't going to get it done as presently constituted against the Warriors. The Rockets last year, as presently constituted, weren't going to get it done against the Warriors. So instead of asking how, the question should be why not? Why not pair two of the top 5 to 7, 10 players, whatever you want to rank them, in the same backcourt at the same time and see what happens down the road.
And I love the fact that people, I don't think people forget, but, what's not to be underplayed in this, I know they gave up a defensive presence in Patrick Beverley, but Chris Paul.
He's a 7-time all-defensive
Exactly, he's one of the best
point guard.
defensive point guards in the league. And again, I like the fact that Houston is changing their approach a little bit because that outscoring stuff wasn't going to work.